Okay guys, we're going to do a quick install of the ICT Billet coil brackets. Should be a relatively simple install, comes with all the hardware we need, and they're not dirty, grimy. So we're just going to get it kind of mocked up for now. So I'm just going to put a couple bolts in to get us started. Should give us enough room to play around. Now the only thing I'm worried about, I just want to keep my coils in the same order, so 2, 4, 6, and 8. I'm not too worried about spark plug wires or anything like that. But I do want to keep my coils at least in the same order, so we're just going to unplug them one by one, put them directly on. We'll go from there. I also bought the coil spacer kit. Just put your coils up just a little bit higher so you have a little more clearance between the valve cover and the coils. Let's get everything started. It actually goes between the bracket and the coil to space it. I'll put the link for these down in the description as well. They're relatively cheap. I think they're 39 bucks plus 10 bucks or so for the spacer kit, which comes with the spacers and the longer bolts as well. I could have reused my stock coil brackets. There's nothing wrong with them, but I didn't want to have to clean them up, paint them, make them the way I wanted when it was relatively cheap to do this. I'm just going for a little cleaner look, especially with running the MSD box and everything else. I want it to look a little different than everybody else's. So this is my number 4 coil. Goes in the number 4 spot. I'll just do one side, so that way you see how it's done. That way you're not watching me do the same thing on the other side of the engine as well. ICT Billet, I like their products. They're cheap, they're well designed. Haven't had any issues out of them. I'm actually running them on my small block Chevy. They have alternator, power steering, even an AC bracket for like a Sandin 508, which comes with vintage air. I wasn't able to run the AC bracket because my passenger side head didn't have the provisions for it, but I'm running their alternator and power steering bracket, which puts it on the driver's side so I can run the compressor on the passenger side without stringing hoses way across my engine. Okay, the reason we left it so loose without putting the rest of the bolts in is so we can still get the harness for each coil underneath, around, and then we'll put the rest of our bolts in. Well, we're still not going to be able to slide it in, so I'll just take this one loose. Should be able to, yep, pry it up out of the way. Kind of plug everything in, so that way they're in the correct firing order, and then we'll go from there. So I think I'll be able to snug it in right there. Kind of make sure everything's going to fit. Then we can begin to run the rest of our bolts in. Make sure we got plenty of clearance. I'm going to use Ugga Dugga torque specs, so we're just gonna and that's all it takes to install the ICT Billet LS coil brackets, which I think it'll clean up the engine bay quite a bit without having those bulky factory ones. I will wipe down the coil packs, get them shining a little better. Probably should have done that beforehand. I'll get the other side thrown on and I'll give you a peek at it.